Thank you for tuning in to the Que Onda Show with your host, Dee Blaze, here on this great radio station. The Que Onda Show is a variety show specializing in the entertainment world in music, movies, television, sports, and other specialties. For the next hour, Dee will bring you some interesting interviews to entertain and educate. So, if you're listening to this program at home or at the office, your smartphone, or your car, let's begin with Dee Blaze on the Que Onda Show.
This is Dee Garcia Blaze with the Que Onda Show, a radio show program that shines a spotlight on Chicanos, Latinos, and anybody who's willing to work with our community. And with me today is a very, very special guest, Rudy Salas, who is with Tierra.
How you doing?
Good. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me on the show. It's a pleasure.
Just a little bit about Tierra for those who don't know who Tierra is. Tierra is a band named Best R&B Vocal Group by 4 leading magazines, including Billboard. And they started their career in East Los Angeles with a blend of rock, pop, jazz, R&B, and salsa. The result was a Latin R&B rhythm which produced classics like Together, Gonna Find Her, Memories, and Zoot Suit Boogie. The band's quarter-century commitment shows a dedication that can only be understood by listening to their smooth and soulful sounds. Tierra was the first Latino band to have 4 songs on the national chart and 2 simultaneously in the top 100. And they have performed in such prestigious shows such as Carnegie Hall, the American Music Awards, American Bandstand, and the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion. Welcome to the show, Rudy.
Thank you. It's great to be on the show, and you just ran the whole thing down, so you did a great job on that. So there's not a lot much more to say. But it's great to be on the show with you.
I was perusing your website on tierramusic.com, and I see that you have a total of 13 albums.
13 albums are not counting, like, let's say, compilation albums and stuff that our music has been on and stuff. That I can't even count. But basically, 13 albums that Tierra actually recorded on their own. So
nice.
It's been quite a ride, this whole thing. I mean, it's been great. We have very loyal fans all over the country and all over different parts of the world, and that keeps us going. And that's something that we really, we cherish that, and it's been really great.
I know you've done a lot of radio show interviews. I'm sure it's up in the thousands with your resume and your musical background.
A few, yes.
And I also know that you are in the studio. Are you working on a new album? Are you working on new sound? What's going on?
We're always trying to look, go forward and doing some new music, and we are working on an album that we're at the beginning stages. We're looking at possibly getting it out there by the beginning of next year. So, but we're just kind of in the studio, because I have my recording studios here in Los Angeles, in Monterey Park, actually, and this is where we do all of our, our creative experiments and do it, and work on different, demos and stuff like that, and start putting it down to working toward master recordings. So that's what we're working on right now.
Oh, good. You are coming, even though the Chicano Radio Network is headquartered out of Hollywood, California. I'm calling you from my flagship here in Arizona, and
good.
And I see that you are coming to Chandler, Arizona, the Wild Horse Pass Hotel and Casino.
Yeah, on October the 24th, we'll be there in Chandler at the Wild Horse, and that's a great venue. We love it over there, the casino there. We've been there about, I think, 3 times prior, and always sold out shows, and the people there are great. We have a lot of fans out there, and a lot of friends, and a lot of family, and everything. And it's great doing that. So we're looking forward to that show.
Definitely, and since you're telling me that you've sold out, I'm definitely
every show that we've done there was sold out. I haven't checked on this particular show, but I know every the show that we've done there in the past that we've sold out. So it's something that we really look forward to, to going out there, because every time we go out there to Arizona, to Phoenix and the surrounding areas there, and we have a great time, and people really come out and support, and it's like a big event when we play out there. So we really appreciate the audiences out there.
And I definitely want to make the call to neighboring metropolitan cities such as Albuquerque and El Paso to come to the Phoenix area on October 24th.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We have big followings in all those cities, and so it'd be great to get people from all over, to come out.
Now, this radio show, it's geared to the OGs and the Chicano movement, as well as the next generation of Chicanos, as we keep the Chicano movement alive.
Right.
And so we definitely want to keep our, Chicano heroes in memory and continue to just remember the OGs and the movement.
Yeah. Well, I agree with that. I think that's very important for us to, like you say, to keep the people that have made some inroads and not forget that, because every time any Chicano does something and helps to make inroads toward, in like, let's say, in the music industry or whatever industry it is, that's something that's it's very, very important to our people, and it's a statement, so it's important that we don't forget,
And a lot of bands such as yourself have played for the cause, for Chicano causes, and that's why many throughout the years. That's how we started. Actually, we started as a Chicano. We were doing a lot. Our music has changed through the years. Originally, we were doing things that were very socially conscious, talking about the whole Chicano movement. That's how my brother and we grew up during the whole Chicano movement that was going on back in the 70s and the whole thing, the Chicano moratorium, and my whole family was involved in that, and that's when we decided to put Tierra together. And of course, since then we made a lot of different changes in our music, but there's always that Tierra stamp that everybody knows that's our music, And one quick question: why did you choose the name Tierra?
Well, as I said, I was involved very much in the Chicano movement, and back in the day, and but when we were thinking of the music that we were playing, it was basically at the time very raw, very earthy, and so I figured, hey, I'll use the name Tierra because it kind of reflected almost on the music that we were doing. It was very raw and earthy and new, and so we decided to use that. And, that was, it caused certain situations, some positive, some negative in the industry because, the positive thing was we were doing something within our roots and the whole thing, but some of the negatives in terms of how the industry dealt with that, there was still a lot of, at the time, a lot of, biases. And, they would say, well, that's how, go to a Mexican label or this and that. But, we held our ground and went forward, and I'm glad we did.
Very cool. Well, thank you for appearing on the show, and people can get a hold of you through Tierra music.com, or just look you up on Facebook via
Facebook. Right, exactly, Didi. And thank you so much for having me. And I want to thank you for keeping your support out there for Tierra and everybody out there, especially in the Arizona area. Mm-hmm. And don't forget to come down and see the band on the 24th of October at the Wild Horse in Chandler, California. I'm sorry, Arizona, Chandler, Arizona. So we want all our people to go down there because it's going to be an event.
You're listening to Didi Garcia Blaze with the Que Onda show, and once a week you will hear a message from veterans who served in our U.S. Armed Forces that were unfortunately deported, even though they served our nation. This is our effort to help deported veterans support house led by Hector Barajas to send a special message to their loved ones here in the United States.
Good afternoon. My name is Hector Barajas, Specialist 4. I served with the 82nd Airborne, and I'm deported to Tijuana, and I'm calling you guys out of the bunker, the Deported Veteran Support House, and I just wanted to wish my daughter a great day because I'm not able to be there for her or walk her to school, but I love her very much, and I'm coming home one day. So I want to thank Didi for giving us the opportunity to do this so we can say hello to our loved ones, and God bless everyone. Thank you.
Don't forget to pencil the Que Onda show in your calendar. The program airs Thursday nights at 7 p.m. and then again on Sundays at 5 p.m. here on CRN Live.
This is Didi Garcia Blaze with the Que Onda show, and our radio show program shines a spotlight on Chicanos and Latinos and anybody who's willing to work with our community. With me today is a very special guest, Jeronimo Blanco, who is from San Diego, and he is one of the original Brown Berets that is left and that is still standing, representing the Brown Berets National Organization. And in fact, Jeronimo stood with two of the original founders, who were David Sanchez and Carlos Montes, when they were organizing the walkout in the late 1960s. He is the only one still active since 1967 of one of the original Brown Berets. Welcome to the show, Jeronimo.
Thank you.
Tell us about how it's evolving, from back then to now.
Well, we've gone through a lot of changes over the years, positive changes, I would say. Right now, we're in the process of rebuilding the organization, recruiting. We have units in several cities and several states. And, we're actively recruiting and spreading the message of the Brown Berets, which, as you may know, we were one of the most powerful Chicano organizations in the 60s and 70s. Mm-hmm. We had over 5,000 members nationwide in over 80 units or chapters, anywhere from California to Texas to Colorado, Arizona, Nuevo Mexico, even as far as Chicago, Milwaukee, Oregon, you name it. We were around. We spread out like wildfire. Of course, those were the times when the movimiento was spreading like wildfire.
I met one of your members, Rudy Lopez, at a cruise to the Capitol here in Arizona as we fight back against these laws that are designed to make brown people feel bad. And Rudy Lopez, in fact, spoke highly of you recently. And, I see the Chicano movement reviving. As a Chicana activist, I can tell you, from being in the military, people like myself have given the quote-unquote Hispanic, Latino label a full-hearted try, but, what it amounts to is Chicanos and how our voice got a little bit washed out when you get people like Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz, who are Cuban Republicans, who they think that they are our voices, when in fact, you know, Cubans only represent 3% of the entire Latin population pie, while Mexican American Chicanos represent almost 70%. So, you know, that's kind of activating me to say, hey, wait a minute, man, we better stand up. So, you know, Rudy also sent me a photograph of the Brown Berets being with Cesar Chavez and being their security detail. Can you take us back to that time?
Yes, of course. Anywhere there were Brown Berets and Cesar Chavez came around town, we were always there to protect him. We were very proud of doing that. Well, you know, Cesar Chavez was just one of many that we protected as security guards for them. Of course, we were all volunteer security. You know, the Brown Berets have always been a volunteer force, and well, that's where we get our strength from. You know, we don't rely on government funds of any kind. You know, although a lot of times, you know, things have been tight financially, yet somehow we've managed to pull through. And it was a very exciting time, you know, when Cesar Chavez was around. Like I say, wherever there were Brown Berets and Cesar Chavez came around, we were always there to protect him. We were willing to lay our lives on the line for him.
Did you ever talk to Cesar Chavez? Did he ever thank you for providing security, protecting his life?
Oh, yes, he sure did, in more than one occasion. I remember one time he was in L.A., in the L.A. area, and we went there to meet with him, and he sure thanked us, you know, from the bottom of his heart for doing what we were doing for him. And, you know, you know, those kind of thank yous from that kind of people always stands out in your mind.
Did you ever hear about death threats being given to Cesar Chavez?
Yes, I did.
What were they like? I mean, take us to that time.
Farmers, from racists, from police, and other government agencies. You know, he was very much a wanted man by the racist, you know, politicians and police and farmers and you know, all kinds of weird people out there. And luckily, you know, he always had security with him, and nothing ever happened to him until the tragic day that he died on an airplane. Yeah, he was very much a wanted man, and we were very proud of having been of any assistance to him to help him stay alive.
Thank you for doing that. I wasn't alive yet. I was born in 1971, and I know that the Chicano movement began in the 60s and and it went through the 70s really strong until what I believe the government designed the breakup of the movement, you know, between us, the Native Americans, and the blacks, you know. So, you know, I want to just sort of tell my audience, Jeronimo Blanco is one of the originals to the Brown Berets National Organization, and he is in the process of recruiting, and you can find Jeronimo on Facebook just by simply doing a search on his name, Jeronimo Blanco. That's JeronimoBlanco, Blanco. So look him up if you want to join the Brown Berets. And Jeronimo, you know, I'm seeing a revival with the Chicanos, you know, especially those of us who are in our 40s. You know, my mom was a Chicana activist. She participated in the whole movement for immigrants and farm workers, and I remember her boycotting and everything. And people in my age group, we're not going to let the Chicano movement die. What advice do you have for the next generation of Chicanos like myself?
Don't ever give up. Yeah, there might be times when your faith may be tried, but don't ever give up. The movement is a beautiful thing, and people in the movement are beautiful people, and don't ever give up. Once you get started, you know, in the movement, there's so many things that you need to learn, and so many things that you need to get involved with, that you know, you can turn it into a full-time job. You know, volunteering is a beautiful thing also, and you know, we don't do it for the money, we don't do it for recognition. We do it because it needs to be done. If we don't do it, then who's gonna do it? So that's basically it. You know, bottom line.
Who's your commander? I like to focus on what was formerly known as Aztlan, and I know several of us still consider the Southwest as Aztlan. So who are some of the commanders that people living in the state of Arizona or Texas or New Mexico or Colorado, who you want to tell our audience who they can contact here in Arizona? Is it Rudy?
Yes, they can contact Rudy Lopez in Phoenix. He's our local commander there. Oh yeah, you can contact him through Facebook also. Under Phoenix Brown Berets.
Okay.
Yes.
And what about Texas?
In Texas, we have Byron Calderon. He's out of El Paso. And you can also find him in Facebook. He's a member of our junta. We have a junta that governs the Brown Beret National Organization now. There's no one leader that we recognize, because we're all leaders.
I like that, Jeronimo, because I mean, if you give a person too much power, it's just too easy to corrupt. I've seen it here in Arizona, and I think that we are all leaders. I really appreciate you saying that.
Yes. Yes, Brown Beret is a leader in his community, and there's both men and women Brown Berets. We wouldn't get very far without our women. They're such a strong force in the movement that we couldn't do without them. They're worthy of our respect and admiration, and are following them. They're just great.
Let me ask you a question. Do you recommend any documentaries that portray Brown Berets the way you think they ought to be portrayed? Because you know how some people sometimes portray Brown Berets in a bad way. What do you recommend in the way of documentaries or movies with regard to a Brown Beret being properly portrayed, since you were in the thick of it?
We have a couple of videos that we recommend. One of them is about the second moratorium ever, and it's a black and white film, very historical. It's about our early stages of organizing as Brown Berets, and there's a second video that I could also recommend, which is back to Catalina Island, In 1972, we took over Santa Catalina Island off the coast of California because that and other 8 or 9 islands off the coast of California were never part of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. On Article 5, it states that the boundaries are, the Rio Grande, or we're in New Mexico and Texas, and then a straight line due east all the way to San Diego, and that's about all it says about the boundaries. Now let's say that we give California 3 territorial miles, nautical miles. Well, Santa Catalina Island is 26 miles into the sea. So even if we were to give the federal 12-mile nautical mile statute, it's still very much outside of those 12 miles. Like I say, Santa Catalina Island is 26 miles into the sea. And in 1972, we took it over because we need land. We need a place that we can call our own. And Santa Catalina Island, is there. So why not go get it? And unfortunately, the cops were blockading our supplies. They cut off our water source. They
did their ordinary tactics to smoke you out, right?
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna definitely watch that documentary that you're suggesting, and I definitely want to have you back on the show, Jeronimo. And you're an honored guest. And I'm looking forward to learning more from you and having you back.
Thank you.
Do you want to give out your phone number in case somebody wants to get recruited to your organization? Okay, go ahead and give your number.
619 area code 793-9053.
Órale, well, ahí está. Well, thank you again, and we're going to have you back.
Don't forget to pencil the Que Onda Show in your calendar. The program airs Thursday nights at 7 p.m. and then again on Sundays at 5 p.m. here on CRN Live.
This is Didi Garcia Blaze with the Que Onda Show, a radio show program that shines a spotlight on Chicanos and Latinos and anybody who's willing to work with our community. And with me today is a very special guest I met in Los Angeles. His name is Steven Gutierrez. I met Steven Gutierrez at an art exhibit, at an art-driven event at Plaza de la Raza, where he was doing some live art painting. He has about 35 years of artwork under his belt, and he feels very committed to his art. Steven even has his own style of artwork called anti-orthoism. Welcome to the show, Steven. Tell us about anti-orthoism and what it means.
Hi, Didi. Thanks for having me. Yeah, so anti-orthoism, it's driven basically by the idea of trying to escape from the rectangular area of a painting. It just occurred to me that most paintings you see are all rectangles or squares. And, most things in life are the same. Rectangular or square-shaped, orthogonal in form. You look at books, refrigerators, TVs, everything around us is a rectangle or a square. And so I sort of wanted to escape that idea by working outward. When it comes to painting, I don't want to have those limits around me. And so, I began with a concept, and that sort of determines the form of a painting. And so that's what it is, essentially, just getting away from that rectangle.
The piece I saw you painting at Plaza de la Raza during your live art demonstration, what did you call that, and why did you paint what appeared to look like buildings in a city. What was your line of thought there?
That painting is called AO2. That stands for Anti-Orthoism 2. And so I started numbering my paintings last year. That painting is about current downtown Los Angeles politics. There's a new tower under construction in Los Angeles called the Wilshire Grand Tower, and it's supposed to be the tallest building in the western United States when it's completed in a couple of years. Currently, the U.S. Bank Tower in Los Angeles is the tallest in the western U.S. It's going to lose its title, though, because of a spire on the new building. A spire which is basically a pole at the roof of the new tower. And so, I thought, well, that's not fair. I mean, I think the height of a building should be determined where people are able to go. And so I did a painting about that, sort of defending the old tower, which has been a huge symbol in LA for years. And so that's all it is, basically.
I kind of wanted to I kind of wanted to tell my audience that you are a veteran. You served as a Marine. Why did you choose being a Marine over the Army when your initial thought process was to join the Army? What was going on there? I think it's a cute story that ought to be shared.
Well, my father was in the Marines, and I had a couple of uncles that were in the Marines. When it came down to it, picking a branch to serve in, I decided on the Marines because they sought me the least out of the other services. I walked into an Army recruiting station, and I had 2 earrings on, and I had a little diamond stud in my nose. This was in the late 90s. That kind of stuff was hip back then. And so I walk into the Army recruiter's office, and he was so nice. He was like, "Hey, come on in." And so I talked to them briefly, and then I went to the Marine recruiting office, and the recruiter in there told me to get out of his office and not to come back until I removed my earrings. And so I was thrown back by that. I was like, "Whoa, this guy doesn't really care if I join or not." And so yeah. So I went and took my earrings out, and I went back in the office, and he was like, "Come on in," and he started talking to me, and I was just really impressed with them. I felt like, they weren't going to give me any kind of advantage. They were going to give me a maximum effort. So that's why I chose them.
How long did you serve in the Marines?
I served from 4 years between 97 and 2001.
And did you do any kind of artwork in the Marines at all?
From time to time, I would do portraits for some of the guys. But it wasn't every day. It was once in a while. Like maybe once every few months. I wasn't that engaged in my art at all back then.
So why the passion for art in Los Angeles? What's your vision? What do you want to see have happen in your life as an artist? What do you see yourself doing 5-10 years from now?
I just want to be able to make a significant contribution to the arts, and sort of, leave my mark when I'm gone. I see a lot of young artists doing what their heroes have done. Like I see people painting things that look like Jackson Pollock paintings or Basquiat paintings, doing a lot of abstract work. And, I'm thinking that, an artist should be able to write a new song, write a new tune. And that's what I'm after. I want to create a new genre of art where you're thinking outward rather than having those restraints, like I mentioned earlier. And so, basically my goal is to sort of develop this new way of thinking, and I have a couple of people who are interested in engaging into this new style. And so it's exciting, and I just hope it grows, and that's all I want to do.
I was really impressed upon the portrait that you created of Morgan Freeman, and it looks very lifelike, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. Why Morgan Freeman?
Morgan Freeman has a really interesting face. If you look at it, there's a lot going on there. Mm-hmm. There's all these things, going on. It sort of looks like geography almost.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're looking at a map and you see all these contour lines and textures and all these different colors and at that time I wanted to do a portrait. I wasn't necessarily thinking about Morgan Freeman, even though he is one of my favorite actors. And I just felt like, okay, I'll do a portrait of him and when I'm done I'll offer it to him. I've reached out to him, but I haven't received a response yet. Mm-hmm. But so I'd like to give it to him.
And what other portraits have you done of other influential people in entertainment?
I haven't done a whole lot of portraits. I did one of Michael Phelps.
Okay.
I think Michael Phelps is just an amazing athlete, the way he's dominated the Olympic Games. Mm-hmm. And so during that time, I really wanted to do a water portrait.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I just put the water element and Phelps together, and it worked out for the portrait. I've done portraits of my daughter. She's 10 years old now.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it. I really haven't done a lot of portrait stuff in my life.
Now, if you're an artist or a writer or a film director or a musician, everybody has certain influences in their life that they've appreciated or they've sort of welcomed into their thought process or psyche. Who are some of the artists that you believe have influenced you? Who are the great artists in your opinion?
When I was growing up, I was a fan of the late Raul Rodriguez. He was the Rose Parade float designer. He passed away earlier this year in 2015. Mm-hmm. I had a chance to meet him by accident. I met him in Pasadena at the Blick Art Store, and I invited him to a show that I was doing last year, and he came. And we got to know each other a little bit. It was really exciting for me to be able to have that connection with one of my heroes. This guy, he designed over 500 Rose Parade floats. He did the floats for the Disneyland parade and some casinos in Vegas. So he was big time, and I really admired him. To be able to sit down with him and look at his personal photographs mm-hmm. that he had in his home was super exciting for me.
And is there anybody else that that you kind of would look up to a little bit?
I like Santiago Calatrava too. He's a mm-hmm. Spanish architect.
Oh.
But he's also an engineer and a painter. And he sculpts as well, so he pretty much does it all. And he combines all these elements during his design process. Mm-hmm. He's really well known for his bridges in Europe. He's currently doing the train station at Ground Zero, New York. But yeah, he's really influenced me a lot. I look at his structural techniques for some of my custom-built canvases that I do. Mm-hmm. And I'm really inspired by him as well.
How can a person look for you on social media? Do you have a website, Facebook, Twitter? How can they look for your beautiful work if they want to commission you for a piece?
I'm pretty much easy to find on the internet. If you just type in my name, Steven Gutierrez. I'm on a couple websites. One is fineartamerica.com. Mm-hmm. And if you type in fineartamerica.com/profile/Steven-Gutierrez, you'll find me. You can find me on Facebook. If you type in Gut Studio, that's Gute, and then studio at the end, you can find me that way. I'm just everywhere. I try to make it as easy as possible for people to be able to find me, so that, you know, I can get more commission work and do more shows. Yeah, but it's not hard to find me at all.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that I make myself available out there on the internet.
As we wrap up this show, and thank you for being a guest on our show.
Hey, thank you.
You're welcome. As we wrap up the show, do you have anything you want to say to our audience?
Yeah, you know, I like to say, you know, thank you for listening today, and I hope if you're an artist that you strive to bring something new to the art world. You know, I think a lot of people believe that everything's been done already, and the way I see art is, you know, like a jar being 10% full of water, and the water represents art history. And so we as artists today have the ability to fill the other 80% of the jar, you know, and whatever that may be. And so certainly anti-orthoism will be my contribution up until this point. And I just want to thank everybody again for listening, and I appreciate this opportunity to talk to you today.
Don't forget to pencil the Que Onda Show in your calendar. The program airs Thursday nights at 7 p.m. and then again on Sundays at 5 p.m. here on CRN Live.
This is Didi Garcia Blaze with the Que Onda Show, a radio show program that shines a spotlight on Chicanos, Latinos, and anybody who's willing to work with our community. And with me today is a very special guest, Mike LePond of Symphony X. He is a bass player for Symphony X. And just a little bit of background with regard to Symphony X. A distinct murmur went around the world in 1994 when a certain six-string guitarist from New Jersey named Michael Romeo of the progressive band Gemini recorded the Dark Chapter demo and sent it out to record labels. It seemed the new guitar messiah of the coming 21st century had made himself known to the world, and he'd soon launch a new band that would stir up the progressive genre. With an innovative mixture of heavy metal, progressive rock, and neoclassical sounds, Romeo and his men in Symphony X recorded a debut album released in Japan in 1994, and it was later released worldwide in 1995, that began their journey to create a blueprint for the young generation of progressive metal bands to follow. I know Mike LePond through a mutual friend, a dear friend, Tassos Laurentiadis. Unfortunately, Tassos is no longer with us, and Tassos told me good things about Michael LePond, who contributed to a music project that would help the homeless worldwide. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Good to be here. Thank you, Didi.
Tell us about the band members.
I'm Michael LePond. I'm the bass player. Jason Rulo is the drummer. Michael Pinella is on the keyboards, Michael Romeo on guitar, and Russell Allen on the vocals. We've been around for about 20 years now, and as I talk to you, we're on tour right now, backstage at the Agora Ballroom in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. So we're in the middle of an American tour right now with a great band also from New Jersey called Overkill, and we're having a great time.
Great. And you guys are going to be coming out to the Southwest all the way from the East Coast, from San Francisco, L.A., Tempe, Arizona. Tell us about it.
Absolutely. Well, we're going on a month-long tour, and it's going to cover the USA and Canada. The tour just started last weekend on the East Coast, and now we are in the Midwest. And then we're going to make our way up to Canada and then come back down from the west coast of Canada to your neck of the woods over there. And then not even sure where after that, but we'll go wherever the bus driver takes us.
Yeah, it looks like Thursday you're going to be playing at the House of Blues in Chicago, and then Milwaukee, Minneapolis, Winnipeg, Calgary.
Absolutely, yeah. And, you know, these are places that we have all played before in the past. We've been touring for many years now. So, you know, touring is great because not only do you get to play in front of, you know, fans that love the band, but you also get to meet friends along the way and you have lifelong friendships. So it's really an amazing experience to be on the road.
Looks like you guys have a lot of fans with regard to Symphony X.
Yes. Throughout the band's history, we really carved out a nice path in the progressive metal genre. Mm-hmm. So we're really known throughout the world. We're one of the top, progressive metal bands probably in the genre, I'd say. We've just been really blessed. Every year we just get a little bit bigger, and we continue to put out albums and tour all over the world. So, it's an amazing thing being in this band. The guys are some of the most talented musicians I've ever played with in my life. So for me, it's always a learning experience, too, to be around such guys like this.
I can definitely hear Michael Romeo's influence with regard to classical sort of mixed in with heavy metal. It's amazing and it's beautiful.
He is very much into classical music. Not only is he a great songwriter for heavy metal music, but he's also a really good classical composer. If you listen to our records, many of the songs have really good orchestration in there, and that really adds to our sound. So we have a really good mix of heavy metal mixed with the classical music. And it's, really dark sounding, and it's, all the songs are really epic. It's really kind of a different thing, and I think that's our biggest appeal to the fans.
Well, as you know, Chicanos and Latinos, I mean, there's a really good group of us who are big, big fans of heavy metal. I know I am, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys play in Arizona, where my flagship is out of. Our corporate office is out of Hollywood, California, but I'm recording from Arizona, and I'm really looking forward to listening to you guys. And how can a person locate you on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and a website?
Oh, sure. Well, we have symphonyx.com. Of course, Symphony X has its own Facebook page as well and Twitter as well. So we're really easy to find on social media, no problem at all. So if you want to come out to the show, anyone who's interested, it's easy to find out where we're playing, easy to find out how to get tickets, and it's going to be a great tour, so please come out. And you know what? Chicanos, Latinos, they are the most passionate metal fans I've ever experienced. So we always love to play for them as well.
Nice. And then I just kind of want to reiterate to the listeners out there that you can go to symphonyx.com and just click on tour, current tour dates. It lists your tour schedule. Real quick, Mike, just kind of trying to get to know you a little bit. Who were your influences in heavy metal?
Right. Well, when I grew up, my influences were Black Sabbath and Judas Priest and Iron Maiden and Manowar, bands like that. So I was always a big fan of, classic heavy metal. And then I started to get into the thrashier bands like Overkill and Metallica and Anthrax and bands like that. I grew up totally getting into metal. And when I started playing the bass, I would idolize certain bass players in that genre, like Geezer Butler from Black Sabbath and Steve Harris from Iron Maiden and people like this. But I also liked some of the progressive stuff too, like Rush. I was a big fan of Geddy Lee from Rush. So I had a lot of different influences growing up.
Where do you see metal going? I mean, because when I was, a rocker, and I had to hide my cassette tape back in the day from my mom because she thought it was devil music, and I had to hide, hard rock and heavy metal music from her. Metal and hard rock have kind of sort of taken a different turn. Where do you see it going in the future?
Well, it's weird because in the USA, it's not nearly as popular as it was when we were growing up. You know what I mean? And different kind of, I don't know, it seems like in the USA, different trends come in and the music listeners kind of jump on those trends. So it's not as strong as it was. But if you go over to Europe or if you go to Latin America, heavy metal is as strong as it ever was, if not stronger. And there's total loyalty to that kind of music. So it's weird because, when we go over to Central South America or we go to Europe or something like that, you know, people still dress the way they used to back in the 80s over here. You know, they have, you know, the patches with the leather jackets and the whole bit, and they still love heavy metal. So I hope that metal comes back as powerful as it used to. But, you know, the other countries of the world are definitely holding the torch.
Totally, especially Latin America. I know there's just a tremendous need and a want for hard rock and heavy metal, for sure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when we play in those areas, I mean, they look at you like this is an event, you know, like this is the big event, and everybody comes out, and the passion it's unequaled. You know, I mean, they just love the music so much. So it's like, actually, I mean, that's really my favorite place to tour is, you know, going down to South and Central America.
You guys need to try to get a gig out of Mexico City. I need to get you guys in touch with somebody out there.
Yeah. You know what? We've played Mexico City a bunch of times. The last time we played there, I think, was 2012 or 13. And great show.
Very cool. Well, thank you for coming on the show, and I can't wait to see you on tour.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to meeting you.
listening to The Que Onda Show with your host, Dee Blaze. This program is the property of Star Sound Music Group, Hollywood, California, and is available for syndication by emailing your request to affiliates@queondashow.com or call 213-283-STAR. Educational institutions, please call to see if your school qualifies for free licensing on your campus radio station. This program was produced by Dee Garcia Blaze. Executive producer is Frank Miranda. Imaging by David Tyler. Thank you for listening to The Que Onda Show. Don't forget to pencil The Que Onda Show in your calendar. The program airs Thursday nights at 7 p.m. and then again on Sundays at 5 p.m. here on CRN Live.